Hello, everyone. Welcome to Soccer Team, the Investors Channel. The market has been through ups and downs. The market really has been very unpredictable. But today, I'm bringing the negative and the positive news. But what I'm going to do first is to put the cat out of the bag by actually sharing the negative news. And we also talk about the positive side of things. We know what is going on in the market. The tariff war, the trade war has finally begun, and there's no in betweens. So the market now is picking up the pieces, and even when you might want to despair, you might want to actually see this time as a very negative time. There are so many things that are actually going on that as an investor you need to keep an eye on in order to actually get the alpha and actually build your investment portfolio irrespective of the time we are in. So before I go ahead, let me just quickly make a disclaimer. Every information shared on this channel is for education and information purpose only. Do your due diligence or consult your financial advisor before making any decision. And on that note, thank you so much for being part of this episode. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, subscribe, put on your notification bell so that you don't miss any update. Also, more importantly, give this video a like, because as more people like this video, we will be able to reach more people to actually get more knowledge about what is going in the market, what's going on in the market, and how to improve their financial well-being. So we are officially in a bear market. We are officially in a bear market. That's the first negative news. The bear market is actually when the market is not just doing badly. The market is in a trap where it doesn't necessarily improve, and things might become a bit more negative, more pessimistic for some time. But if we are not careful as investors, we might also be carried away by the negative news, the negative sentiment, and the pessimism. So we wouldn't be talking about just about the tariff war or the trade war that has really started. We'll be talking about what you need to be doing as an investor, and of course, we'll also look at how the market is likely to shape up going forward. So join me. So, like I said, the bad news, which no one wants to really look into, which is really touching for a whole lot of people. But emotion aside, sentiment aside, you actually have to think logical. We are actually officially in a bear market. The market has corrected. The S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, all the major indices, the Dow, the Russell, all of these indices have now corrected, and they've lost at least close to about minimum of 15%. So year to date, we are in a bear market, and sometimes some bear markets are very quick. You might not be able to predict what will happen. If you have seen what is going on, a whole lot of news headlines, the fake news, the real news, or the US is increasing this, China is retaliating with this and all that. All of this news make it very tough for investors to actually plan their investment portfolio, or also to also decide what exactly should they be doing. But one fact that we are in that is now very certain is that the market is now bearish. So keep that in mind. What that just means is that we are in a period where most investors are a bit more pessimistic. They don't actually know when the uncertainty will actually leave us. Secondly, now look at the short term side of things. The market is going to be very choppy. The market is going to be very unpredictable. Like today, the market went very high. In fact, the S&P 500 went almost as high as 3%, and now it pared down the gains, and now it's also on the upward movement as I'm doing this broadcast. So you don't have to actually predict what is going on. You just have to actually understand the method behind, quote unquote, the madness. So the market in the short term, in the next couple of days, hours, or weeks, the market is just going to be very choppy and unpredictable. In the medium term, what you should actually be expecting is that we'll be seeing and getting more clarity as time goes on. So the clarity will actually come as time goes on. You will be seeing more clarity, and this clarity will actually assist every investor to actually make sure that we understand what decisions are being made, to what effect or consequences are this decision going to be made. Is China and the US going to be negotiating a trade deal that might actually get rid of a whole lot of tariffs, a whole lot of trade barriers, or non-trade items that the US actually want China to look into? So all of these things will come into the market, and that's when investors tend to be a bit less sentimental. Investors start actually going in a more positive way to actually take positions and also add to positions. However, in the long term, which is the most important part for you as an investor, in the long term, investment in equities, investment in the stock market is still the best bet. You don't want to actually sit on cash because inflation is likely to be very, very serious in the short to the medium term. So in the next couple of weeks and months, very close to where we are now, inflation is likely to rise if these negotiations don't get done, if this war continue to escalate, the trade war. So you want to actually buy equities, buy stocks when these stocks are now at very, very reasonable fair valuation. Stocks are actually going to win, in the long term, and that's why as an investor you need to actually keep your eye on the ball. So as for me, here's my strategy. I'm holding on to my key positions and also be a bit more wary in hiding positions. Yes, a whole lot of stocks, a whole lot of companies are now at bargain valuation or fair valuation, but you actually have to actually understand that even when the market is bearish from a holistic point of view, some stocks are still very much overvalued. We just have a broader market sell off. That's why it makes it look like, oh, every stock on Wall Street or in major financial markets are now very underpriced. But you actually have to be very, very careful. You still have to do your due diligence. But when you look at the Magnificent Seven, you look at stocks like Palantir, you look like stocks like Robinhood, you look at a whole lot of other picks that we've shared on this channel. They are now very, very, very close to the most fairest of their valuation. Also, dollar cost average (DCA) don't necessarily just go in a lump sum because you don't want to also time the market. You don't want to time when this storm, quote unquote, is going to be over. So I will go over now to look at the S&P 500 chart so that we can actually bring home the points of what I'm talking about, why we are in a bear trap, we're in a bear market, and having a strategy that actually will make you a winner in the long term is more important. So come with me. So like I said, as you can see, this is the S&P 500 index chart. You can see that year to date, while I was making this broadcast, we were actually around about 14% loss for the year between January and now. But now we have lost close to about 10% correction. So I personally believe it is the time to actually declare that we are in a bear market. The market is jumping very, very aggressively as we speak. I don't have the headline offhand, but I'm just looking at my portfolio now and it's up by about 7%. So I actually expect that there's a major headline going on, which I'm going to be sharing. But from what I can see, remain in your portfolio positions. Don't switch positions if you don't have the clarity. The market could actually move further down to the downside or aggressively, very, very aggressively to the upside. So as you can see, I started this broadcast and the market was, S&P 500 was barely doing 1%, and now between the last 5 or 6 minutes, it's now up by almost 7%. So that's what I'm saying, and that's why you need to actually be very vigilant. Stick to your strategy, stick to your portfolio plan, so that you don't get you don't get wiped out, or you don't sell your positions and the market moves up and you have to actually run after the market. So let's close this for today, and let's go back to our strategy map. So like I said, we need to also understand the don'ts, what we shouldn't be doing. Uh, don't predict the market. Like I said, don't predict the market. Just about 5 to 6 minutes before I started this broadcast, the market moved from barely doing 1% to about almost 7%. Don't predict the market, you get burnt. Don't also short the market. Don't predict that the market will keep going lower, because the market can actually move against you. The market is amorphous. Sometimes you can also say it's decentralized, even when it's regulated. No single person is actually pulling the strings. So many things, so many headlines, so many sentiments, so many inclinations are actually deciding how the stock market moves. Also, don't actually predict that the market will keep moving, will start moving up in the short term, because you don't also want to predict the market. So on that note, those are the don'ts in a bear market. What you shouldn't be doing in the bear market: don't predict the market, don't short the market, and don't also predict that the market will keep going up in the short term, because it is very, very hard to predict. This is human behavior. It could be irrational, it could be illogical, it could be sentimental. So thank you so much. On that note, thank you for watching this episode. If you haven't joined us on X, join us on X at Stockerteam Live, on TikTok at Stockerteam, and on Instagram at Stockerteam Live. Also, please give this video a like if you haven't liked this video. Also, subscribe to our channel, put on the notification bell. Till next time when we cover the market, keep investing and keep growing. Take care and bye-bye.